Let's go watch.
We're obsessed with this idea of like what would happen if the world ends. It's something that's always really interesting to people. But there's this even more interesting idea behind it, which is what do you do when the apocalypse doesn't happen? When you were sort of anticipating the world to end, then nothing happens. When we brought the writers together to start talking about what the final season of the show is going to be, we felt like it was probably best to start with the very end. What's the last scene of the series going to be? We landed on an idea that excited all of us.
We lost some of them. But over there, they lost all of us.
We took our most skeptical character and put her in a place where she tells a story that offers an explanation.
Most of the characters on the show are suffering. The satisfying resolution to the show, I think, is there a way for the characters that we care about to find a way to find peace? Maybe the answer to that question is there isn't. The third season, more than the previous two seasons, starts to push the characters in a direction where they're no longer satisfied with just sitting back and not trying to answer that question for themselves.
You're gonna have to hold me down.
What am I supposed to do with my life? What does this mean? And more importantly, how can I feel safe? Because if at any time this could happen again, the people that you love could just be gone.
Now what?
We always knew that the sudden departure created this vacuum that people had to fill with ideas, theories, stories. The whole show is about the lack of an explanation and what that forces people to do to live with themselves and to live with each other.
I don't understand what's happening. Me neither.
It's about the belief systems that people create to give their life some form of structure.
Are you scared?
I have never felt so alive.
I think it's a show that fundamentally attacks like the meaning of life.
Then I'm not scared either.
There's powerlessness and mystery every day. We don't think about it all the time until we're challenged.
Our characters are constantly evolving, and that to me is a really moving and beautiful part of the show.
I think that we find each character on the show that we care about in very specific pursuit of the answer to a personal mystery, somewhat related to the departure itself, but I think that we resolve those mysteries in the series and we leave the grander mystery unanswered. A satisfying ending on The Leftovers feels to me like it is release from suffering. It also seems true and authentic that the way that we find release from suffering is through community, through family, through love.
Is at times joyous and at times extremely uncomfortable. I think that's the stuff that Damon loves to play in, that kind of discomfort.
The Leftovers is not about telling people how to live their lives. It's about watching people who don't know how to live their lives, looking for some level of fundamental guidance and maybe finding it through one another.